people think that that is what custom is.
Right.
And it's such a myth, because picking the countertop and the appliances and the color of your walls, that is not custom. That's like the icing on a cake, you know?
Yeah,
yes, you can change the icing, but it doesn't change the cake. Mm-hmm. For us, custom is the layout.
Hi, welcome back to Glow Talks with Jess. I am so thrilled to have a good friend of mine, Francisca Alonso of AV Architects out of Great Falls. Thank you so much for being on my show and for welcoming us into your beautiful home here in Great Falls.
Thank you, Jess. I am so excited to be here with you, and thank you for having me, and excited to be able to open my home to you and to be part of this show.
Yeah. I'm thrilled. I'm so thankful for your time and excited to share with my viewers and my listeners about our journey. Mm-hmm. We met, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, just about.
Mm-hmm. And little did I know, I only live 5 minutes from you. So it was our mutual friend, Julie Ziegler, a professional photographer that I'd known through the modeling agency out of DC, actually.
Right.
Right? I remember that day so vividly.
Yes, me too. It's such a coincidence, but we always say there are no coincidences.
That's right. Yeah, God has a plan, and thankfully you are in mine. Mm-hmm. I'm so thrilled. But yeah, that day was so fun. We were doing a modeling photo shoot, and here you came in and was like, oh, I'm the architect and the builder of this home. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this place. It's incredible. So, I mean, clearly you have an eye for design and, you know, for flow and entertaining and space. And tell me a little bit about your journey with AV Architects. When did you guys find the company?
So we founded the company in 2001.
Okay.
And I basically met my husband in architecture school when we were in our teens. And we went to Catholic University in DC.
Oh, wow.
And we met in architecture school. And I'm originally from Spain. Mm-hmm. So we got married right after school. So my family, is still in Spain, but I decided to stay here with him and build my life here with him.
That's
and
awesome.
We both were working for separate companies downtown. And then after doing that for 4 or 5 years, there always comes that choice that women have, that do you want to have kids? Well, what is that going to look like with work? I'm gone for 12 hours downtown.
Yeah.
How am I going to have a kid, right?
Right.
And so it's that dilemma that I think all women that want to have a family have to deal with.
Yeah.
And you want to have your career, and we just want it all, right?
I know, we do.
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Absolutely not.
And we can do it all.
Yeah.
And so, but there's these choices, right?
And challenges along the way.
Right.
So you decided with Tony to start your own company.
Exactly. Because I wanted to have kids and be able to be there for the kids and not be, downtown, gone for 12 hours. And the only way to do that was to be able to start my own company so that I could, manage my own hours.
Yeah.
Basically.
I love your office, by the way, in Great Falls.
Yes.
It's incredible. Have you been there the whole time?
No, I actually worked out of my house for 14 years.
Oh my goodness.
And back to the same idea that way I could be home at 3:00 when the bus came. I could be sending them off to the bus and then run downstairs and work. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 people working for me out of our basement.
Okay, wow.
So I did that for 14 years, and Tony actually worked downtown. Mm-hmm. And I started the company with him, but I really started it and led it on my own.
You're the CEO. You're the boss.
I am the boss. I am the CEO.
I love it.
And he works for me.
Yeah. Well,
So I keep telling him, send me your resume every year. I want to make sure that we're getting the best out of you.
that's hilarious. I'm sure he loves that.
Yes, he does love it.
That is
We've
funny.
been married 32 years now.
Wow.
So we met in
Congratulations.
college on a project, and we're still projecting together. So
Yes.
it's
So
all
tell me, were you always into modern design or custom home building? Was that something you saw yourself in when you were in school?
Not really. I think that in school I was just fascinated by. I come from a family of architects and
Okay.
developers and builders, and so building something out of nothing and having that one-on-one with people. I am a people person,
Yeah.
and I love helping people, being around people, listening to people's stories, and so architecture was a way to do that. You know, it doesn't matter what space you're designing or building, it is always about people.
Right. And the function. Like
A hundred
what's going to
percent.
serve that family or that space best based
Exactly.
on who's going to be inside of it.
Exactly. And that's why I focused on residential,
Okay.
because I love the fact that we're working together with a family,
Yeah.
you know, with a couple and maybe, you know, their kids or grandkids, multi-generational. So you're always working with a few people or, you know, just like a family.
Yes.
And so how can we create this space so that it really benefits them?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what residential architecture is all about.
Yeah. And then, naturally, when you get into building and design and you're looking at each individual family, everyone has their own needs,
Exactly.
hence the custom.
Exactly, exactly. So when we started our company, we were just architects,
Yeah.
and we were doing only the design, not the
Okay.
building. But learned very quickly that in residential, there's a big disconnect between the plans and the actual implementation.
Okay.
And so we saw that disconnect, and we wanted to close that gap, and that's why we started our construction company.
Okay.
In order to make sure that our clients are taken care of from start to finish.
Yeah. And I know you are just the best at that, being there each step of the way with your clients.
Yes, yes. We are not a production company.
Yeah.
So we're really not that interested in volume and building, 50 or 500 houses a year. We're more interested in quality and building, 4 to 6 houses.
Yeah. And that fascinates me. And I think many people don't know this, but I actually was working for builders back. It was like some of my first professional work over the summers while I was in high school, leading into college. And then I worked for a mixed use developer in DC. So before I started in health and wellness, this was actually, the industry that I was in. So I've loved learning about you and your process, your company. Of course, you're just such a lovely friend and have supported me throughout this, unfortunate loss of Rudy. And I'm so glad that you all could meet and, kind of geek out on the 3D world and AI and design and all of that. So I'm so thankful for you. And I'm very excited about our future endeavors too. So
Yes, me too. Me
so
too.
let's talk about that. We've discussed looking for properties. We've discussed your process at AV Architects for bringing on a new client. What does that step-by-step process look like?
Yes, most of our clients need land before they can build
Right.
on it. And so the first thing we want to focus on is how do we find that land? How do we vet that property? So whether we're looking at a lot which has a house that can be torn down, like this house here that we're in, my house, there was a house on it before, or whether you're looking at empty piece of land, the criterias are a little bit different. So we analyze that based on the type of house that you're looking to build.
Right.
So
And now you've been in business, you have a portfolio of some homes that you've successfully designed and built
we have
in your arsenal.
we have
essentially.
many
Okay.
houses, and we share that with our clients so that they can get a little bit of a feel of what kind of house they would like.
Yeah, visualization.
Exactly. Yes. And then we use a 3D tool, which is what I was talking to Rudy about, because it is actually probably one of the biggest stress points for people.
I can see
is the fact that they can't visualize.
Yeah. And working for a builder who are doing, like you said, volume versus, quality. Like, it's easy for someone to walk into a model home and kind of imagine, oh, it would be this kind of countertop color or this type of cabinet color. But really, I mean, that's just the end, like, of just picking those finishes,
Right. People think that is what custom is.
Right.
And it's such a myth because picking the countertop and the appliances and the color of your walls, that is not custom.
That's like
the icing on a cake.
The
yes, you can change the icing, but it doesn't change the cake.
Yeah, or the footprint of the home, or how it flows.
Exactly.
For
and
your
so
family.
For us, custom is the layout of the floor plan.
Yeah.
Do you want a main level bedroom on the main floor? Do you want two of them? Do you want two kitchens?
Okay.
A show kitchen and a prep kitchen.
Yep.
Do you want two laundries in your house? Do you want a 4-car? I mean, there are so many options out there. And at the end of the day, the way we look at it, the cost per square foot is the same whether you use 100% of it or you use 50% of it.
Okay.
You're still going to pay the same amount of money.
Yep.
So why not design it so that you use 100% of it?
Right.
I mean, you're going to pay the same amount of money, same taxes, and same construction cost.
Yes.
And I cannot even tell you how many people I talk to that they say, oh, well, I don't use this room and I don't use this room, or we never go up there. We never.
Yeah.
So
what
a waste of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I guess this also goes along with when we're talking about the first step of finding land. Like what size home, what footprint, how it's going to be situated on the land, or what's conducive, what the land will support as well,
It's really important that when you're looking for land to build on, that you already have a visual of what house is, not style, but what footprint you want.
Right.
Is it going to have mostly main level? What shape is it going to be? What are your views? Because that's going to determine, what property is more conducive to that house.
Well, and I guess it's different too when you're having a family in a home versus having maybe a couple where the kids have all left and this is kind of their retirement home.
Right.
Perhaps they want to have a one-level living. They don't want a bunch of stairs going up and down, right? Right. So, that will all depend, right, on the client.
Yes, and we have a variety of types of clients, and we tailor the options to them. That's really the most important thing about custom.
Yeah, no, I love that. So now let's go back to step 1, finding the land, step 2. They're kind of hand in hand.
Right.
With finding the land and having an idea of the footprint or the size or type of home you're building.
Right. So those are the first 2 steps of our process, finding the land and then developing the concept, the vision of the house. And we do both of these things, pretty much hand in hand, and we create the vision of the house in a 3D model.
Yeah.
So we have some starting points that we can show you, but then we actually develop your version of the specific of the house.
Yeah, because you can do little modifications.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
But we develop it in a 3D format. So you actually, with the Oculus goggles, you can actually
those
walk.
Things scare me.
You can walk through the house and you can get a really good sense of the walls and the views and the spaces, because this is not a cookie cutter house, a model like all the other ones, just in a different color.
Right.
This is a unique house tailored to you, to the spaces you want.
Yep.
So it's really important for us to be able to deliver that vision to you in a format that you can actually critique it and say, oh, actually, I don't want this here, or, so we can change it easily and not change it in construction.
Yeah.
Because that's costly. We
Right.
change it on paper where it's not costly.
Yeah. And now that you are running the construction side, which by the way, I have to like really give you props because I know you had mentioned a lot of the time when you walk into a room and you're, talking with a client or you're having to meet on site that everyone thinks like, oh, she's the designer. But no, like you're running the whole construction side of this.
Yes, people always assume when they meet Tony and I that I'm the designer and he's the builder.
Right.
Because that's what,
Yep. That's
stereotypically.
the man's industry.
Exactly,
Right?
stereotypically. He's very quick to correct them and say, no, that he's actually the architect, the designer, and I am the builder. So like I said earlier, I'm a people person, so I love connecting with people and building a house. We have 85 subcontractors. Most of them are Hispanics, and they actually love the fact that I am managing the project. We speak the same language. We're on the same page, and I have some of my subcontractors I've had since the beginning of time. For 20 years.
I mean, that's the importance of building relationships. Again, going back to like supporting those who support you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And going above and beyond, I'm sure, for your contractors, and they do the same for you. And that's when you're building that trust over time.
Yeah, it's a two-way street, and they take pride in doing unique work.
Yes.
And I take pride in being able to help other families have a better life because of the projects that we're building, and we're able to employ so many other people during the process. So that's
amazing.
Really special to me.
Well, it speaks very highly, of your level of commitment and your service, to not only your company, your contractors, and your client, and your clients.
Yes.
So that's wonderful.
Helping.
So now we have been around town a little bit and seen some properties together, some good, bad, and ugly. And I think my listeners would really love to hear a little bit more about if you are looking for a piece of property, let's say to build a custom home. What kind of things should we be concerned with or looking for? I mean, of course, we have a footprint home. Let's say, in my case, I want to downsize. I don't want a huge footprint and a huge house. I need something that's manageable, and that's going to last the test of time, right?
Right.
That the materials are not going to fade away or require so much maintenance, and that I can maintain it really on my own without having to worry about having another person there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk about that. Like we've seen a couple of different land properties, and some of them were, I don't know. It was a little scary to me, even though I kind of can have a vision as well.
Right.
What kind of things are we looking for?
So I think step one is to look at the surrounding neighborhood.
Okay.
Right, and look at you're looking at a zip code, so obviously that tells you the big picture of the area. Sure. But then once you're looking at a specific property, look at the surrounding neighborhood, look at the type of houses that are there, how much distance is between the houses, is there HOA in the community? If there is, homeowners association, right? You want to look at that and see, are they going to be do they have restrictions regarding architectural style? Are they going to be open to something modern?
Exterior facade
exactly.
And so on.
Because that will dictate what the options are in terms of design.
Okay.
So the neighborhood, the HOA. And then one thing that I think no one really pays attention to, very few people pay attention to, is sun orientation.
Yes. We were talking about that.
So no one really thinks about that.
I love seeing the sunrise in the back of the house.
Right.
Every morning, even if it's through the trees, it's something that's important
exactly.
to me.
And so it's an energy in the house. And so you walk into a house and you're like, I don't know what it is, but there's something sad about this house. And it has to do with sunlight.
Wow.
Because, we are
creatures of the earth.
Yes. And so a house has to be connected to Mother Nature.
Yes.
It can't just be, I call the houses that are not connected to Mother Nature introverted houses.
Okay.
Basically, they're kind of inversed.
Right.
So you want your house to be extroverted, to be connected with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So the way you travel inside of the home, it has to be related to the way the sun travels.
Okay. I love that.
So north should be in the front and south should be in the back.
Okay.
Southwest, southeast, south. You can't change that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what God created, right?
Right.
So if you go into a property and the sun is shining at the front door, you want to be looking at the opposite side of that street
I see.
because that's where the right orientation is.
Okay. That makes sense.
We can't change that.
That's
Your
so
house is going to be
fascinating.
dark
Yeah.
no matter what we do.
Well, and your design allows for large windows, a lot of like open lighting, open space, which I love. I mean, natural light to me
it helps.
is everything.
But if you're facing north
wrong way.
in the back, there's only so much.
Yeah.
You know, you'll have to always have the lights on in your house.
I see.
And you won't have that natural sunlight.
Ambiance.
Right,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
So sun orientation
Okay.
is very important. You know, surrounding neighborhoods, and then you also want to look at topography.
Okay. Yep.
And topography meaning like the shape of the land.
Right.
Right. You don't want to have a house that ideally your property should be somewhat on a hill. Or
To
just
allow for water to
exactly,
run off naturally.
Exactly. You want to
Yep.
be like in a ditch type
Right,
of
right.
setting, right? So I think that's kind of a little bit of common sense.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in general what we look at, right? And of course, things like utilities, are they nearby, like
Yeah.
gas, electric,
Yeah.
septic, those
Right.
things. But to be honest with you, those are things that can be fixed.
Yeah.
But the things that cannot be fixed is sun orientation
Yep.
and topography and neighborhood.
Okay.
So those are
I
the three
gotcha.
things that we cannot change.
Yeah. So it's important to really do your homework and do your research when
Yes.
looking at properties. And of course, also price point on the land.
Of course.
Because you are then also, spending on the build as you go, right?
Correct. Yes.
And there's a lot of options. I know you guys work with different financing and, different companies out there to help that process as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. We
which
have
is great.
a mortgage company that we work with.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was always surprised looking at some of these properties that I was like, oh, wait, it's a septic, but we'd have to take it out. Or the tear down concept. Because I think a lot of people are a little like nervous about, wait, you're just going to tear down this house? Well, yeah, like what you're buying is the value of the land and the things you can't change, like the topography and how the house can be situated on the property.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So it's worthwhile and sometimes even cheaper, as you say,
Correct. Yes.
to just tear it down.
Correct. It's, tearing down a house doesn't really cost that much.
Right.
It's like $15,000.
Okay.
So, clearing a piece of land that has all these trees and we got to move dirt around and create a driveway, that will be more than $15,000.
Wow.
So that's why finding a piece of property that has a tear down, generally in the big scheme of things, it might be a more cost efficient way than finding empty land that you have to prepare
I mean,
for
I just
construction.
don't think a lot of people realize that.
No,
Which
actually.
is really interesting. And in this area, specifically Great Falls and some of the other Loudoun County areas.
Right.
I mean, tear downs are like a thing.
Right.
You can find them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
That's always what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Any house that is 1980s or earlier, generally, unless there's like a particular historic value to
Concept,
it,
yeah.
they're usually houses that can be torn down very easily.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think that's a really great, thing to help us like bridge the gap or demystify kind of this process of building a custom house or building new versus, trying to find something that's going to fit your family, but maybe it's not quite right,
Yeah, and sometimes people spend more money renovating a house than what they would have done if we would have torn it down and built it new.
Yeah.
Like I see that all the time, and people just get caught up in that, like, well, let's do this, this. Before you know it, you spend over, $1 million renovating a very old house that at the end of the day is still going to be an old house.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so talking about tear downs, I saw the before photo of this property and the home that was on it. And really,
my gosh, yeah.
It's incredible, the difference and just the vision. You have to have so much vision.
Yes.
And I think my viewers will love to see a little bit of your home. Mm-hmm. We're going to take you on a little tour and show and highlight this magnificent modern architecture. So enjoy, and we will see you back here in a minute. Wow, Francisca, this place is incredible. I mean, I absolutely have loved being here with you for some of your parties. The entertaining here is, to die for. So thank you so much for having us here and for your time and sharing. Now, for anyone who's watching and listening, tell us, how can we get in touch with you?
Sure. So our office is in Great Falls, Virginia, and you can call the office, 703-865-5065.
Okay.
Or you can also go onto our website, which is www.avarchitectsbuild.com.
Wonderful. And I know you have an Instagram.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love your videos there.
Yes, thank you. We have a YouTube channel,
Okay.
which is called The Residential Architects.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So YouTube, IG, web, and phone.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. You're such a darling.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful for having you in my life, and I can't wait to continue to work on our fun projects moving forward. We are going to be doing a series, so stay tuned for future episodes on steps 3 through 6 with AV Architects. And it's so lovely being here with you today. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, stay tuned, guys. We do have a series coming with Francisca and AV Architects where you can learn more about this process of home building. You can find me on YouTube, Glow Talks with Jess. Please subscribe. You can also listen on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And then please join me on Instagram, Glow Talks with Jess, and you can find me on my personal page, Jess Ernst. Thanks, guys. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.